Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
In my video a couple days ago, March 23rd, on the Clarity Act, I said a point that Brad Garlinghouse is going to say the same point here. We're going to listen in on this because my spider senses started going off with the Clarity Act. Like I said, I wanted to see how it developed. It didn't sound like it was going to develop pretty good for us. You'll have to go watch that video if you're wondering what I'm talking about, but welcome you here. Hi, I'm DKWILL. This is DKWILL Talk About It, and I'm going to talk about it again. I see something behind the curtain that I think I'll bring to people's attention. But first, let's take a listen in to see what Brad Garlinghouse says about the potential for the Clarity Act to pass through. Let's listen in closely.
The prediction markets around this point, around the Clarity Act, spiked because of some comments yesterday from Senator Moreno, who's been an advocate. I think it's now 90% it will pass by the end of April. I had said a couple weeks ago, I thought end of April. At the time, people thought that was a little optimistic. There's a meeting today with a lot of leaders on both sides, the crypto and banking, in the White House. Actually, it's in 30 minutes or so. The White House is pushing hard on this, and I think that is a big reason why it will get done. It needs to get done for U.S. leadership. President Trump has been a clear leader and put the stake out there that we need the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world. That's good for U.S. competitiveness, and that leadership from David Sachs and Patrick Witt in the White House have been really critical around this.
And first, what I'd like to do in addressing this, because like I said, I smell something, my spider senses are going off. What is the primary issue here? What are they fighting over? What's Coinbase fighting the banks for? And I want to say that sometimes when we look at a fight going on, the fight is kind of like, what do they call it? An exhibition fight. Remember exhibition fights where nobody's really supposed to get hurt or win or lose. And I think that we might be watching an exhibition fight, and I'll explain why. Somebody has to be the good guy, somebody has to be the bad guy. But the primary issue around the Stablecoin Act is yield. The banks were worried about deposit flight because the yields being earned by cryptocurrency holding stablecoins on the exchanges was paying far better than what the banks were paying. And as you can see here, the primary stablecoin yield dispute was resolved in March of 2026. Notice it says past tense. Via a bipartisan agreement between Senators Tillis and also Brooks. Now, I looked them up. Also Brooks, Democrat, Tillis, Senator's Republican. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it prohibits passive yield on dormant stablecoin balances, but permits activity-based rewards tied to payments, transfers, and platform uses. Now, in my past videos, I've been very clear that. And if you like the content I'm providing, please make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, and then come back for more DK Will Talk About It. Stablecoins are a losing proposition if they don't pay a yield. Because when you buy a stablecoin on the exchange, unless you're a high volume buyer, you're going to pay a fee, even if it's only 99 cents. You're going to pay a fee for that purchase, that transaction, to acquire the stablecoins. So therefore, you're going in with a net loss. So if you can't earn yields and they're supposed to maintain, that's why they're called stable, if they're supposed to maintain their stability by being always one-to-one with the dollar, you're never going to earn anything. So that's a losing proposition out the gate. And then when you go to sell them, you have to pay fees again. So now you're out another dollar. So at best, if you have $100 in there, you're going to end up with 98% of your money. So they have to pay yield for them to be valuable. But the banks are threatened by the fact that they pay very attractive yields, at least on the surface. No, I think this battle is designed to make the exchanges look good, while the banks, who are powerful, are going to get their way by reducing the yield that's available on stable coins. And then therefore, they'll let it pass. Despite this breakthrough, several unresolved issues remain that could delay the bill's passage. Senate Democrats have raised concerns regarding anti-money laundering obligations and how decentralized finance protocols will be regulated. I'm sorry, they don't really care about money laundering. I mean, senators and House of Representative people go into office, they're doggone near broke, and then in less than a year or two, they're millionaires. They're not really caring about that, that's for sure. Ethics language. Final terms regarding senior government officials holding or profiting from crypto assets, including provisions related to the Stop Insider Trading Act. They've been doing that forever. Nancy Pelosi is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Legislative scope. There's a possibility of attaching community bank deregulation to the bill, which could complicate negotiations and expand the bill's scope beyond digital assets. I have nothing to say about that. But the point is, the banks, if we'll go to X, for instance, the Clarity Act has a new draft. Both sides agree. This is Crypto Tice. I give proper props, and I expect the people to give me props. If they say something, I say extra bod. But nonetheless, both sides agree. Earn rewards through activity allowed, earn yield just for holding banned. No yield earned for holding cryptocurrencies. Therefore, like the video I did with Senator Scott, where they said they're going to make sure that there's no deposit flight. I says, how are they going to do that? Clearly, I made a comment on the videos. I'll put the cards up here. That if they do that, then it's going to be to our disadvantage. And I even hinted at it in the prior video on the 23rd. I'm pumping my own videos because they need more views. But here's the problem. They're making it look like it's protecting the banks. It's protecting the banks in the legacy system. But it's not just protecting the banks in the legacy system. The banks are going to get into the stablecoin business. It's protecting them from having to pay high yields just the way they are with demand deposits for cash right now. How do I know that? I'll make a reference to another prior video that I did, and let's listen in on that video as well.
So I'm going to break it down first, the short version, and then the video will get a little bit more involved. Stablecoins are regulated with the signing of this act and can no longer be issued and created by just anyone in the United States. You will need government authorization, and the issuer must have FDIC or SIPC insurance and real cash or assets backing the coin that they issue. Plus, they must report their account status monthly. Now, this puts primarily bankers and brokerages and wealthy entities in charge of issuing stablecoins. And stablecoins is a very lucrative business. The issuer gets to make money off the money purchasing stablecoins from people like us, retail and others, but only guarantee that it doesn't become less than a valuable of $1 to $1. Now, of course, some will and do offer interest, and they do that now, but they earn a lot more than they pay. Another main change is no more fractional banking. If they don't have it, they can't claim they do to lend it. No 10% reserve, hocus pocus anymore. Small issuers can register at the state level or the federal level, whereas if it has a valuation of over $10 billion, they must register at the federal level. So the issuers can invest your stablecoin purchase in specified acceptable assets, and we'll see that that's mostly treasuries and other things like that. Make a 2 times, 3 times, 10 times return off your money and pay you dollar for dollar that they used. Now, if they have interest, they'll pay you dollar for dollar plus the interest, no matter how many times they made money off your money. Now, this actually creates competition for our money because there's only so much out there since fiat creation won't count. So if a stablecoin isn't paying you interest, and a healthy interest, don't buy it.
Huh? That's right. Don't buy it because it's a losing proposition. In this release here that I did in that prior video, the OCC clarifies bank authority to engage in crypto asset custody and execution services. So when the banks get into crypto asset custody, stablecoins being crypto assets, they won't have to pay you much interest if you just let it sit there. And so while they're pretending that they're fighting this movement, they're actually preparing this movement to fit more into the mold that they're used to. And what happens to the treasuries? Well, the treasuries get more demand, so they pay more money, but guess what? They don't pay you. So in essence, the government is keeping the rich rich and the poor poorer. Who has SIPC insurance? The broker dealers. Who has FDIC insurance? The banks. Who has 10 to 20 billion dollars to even consider creating a stable coin? So this fight is all a fake, my friends. It's a fake exhibition fight that is keeping you distracted while they continue to mold and prepare a system where you'll have nothing, but you'll be happy. They will force your money just like they do now. Where does your money go if you get a paycheck? Direct deposit. Direct deposit where? Into the banks. And so they're making this new system mold to their liking so that they don't have to pay you. And I said that in my prior videos too. Why would the banks be fighting paying people more money? Because that's what they were doing. And will the cryptocurrency agencies yield? It's a win-win for them anyway, because then they will have an excuse not to pay you, because it'll be legislated, it'll be codified, it'll be the law. That's the thing I smelt in this Clarity Act. And so I talked about it, because they just want us to be consumers. Keep your money moving, keep buying stuff, keep feeding their machine, keep making the rich rich and the poor poorer. Well, I hope this thought of mine continues to develop and round itself out, and you can guarantee that as it does, I will talk about it. I'm DK Will, and this is DK Will Talk About It. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, comment, and please share. And after you do all of that, make sure you have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.